What's your reaction to these voter bills that Republicans in multiple states are looking to pass?
Here's the problem. I think that it's unfortunate that many Republicans in Texas and across this country are beholden to former President Donald Trump's big lie that there was massive voter fraud and that was the reason he lost. When he knows, as well as they know, that that is unequivocally false. And as a result of those lies, that has been rejected by the U.S. Supreme Court, that has been rejected by, uh, his own Attorney General. His own former attorney, Rudy Giuliani, just lost his law license advocating for that lie. And so here's the point. They're using that big lie to justify massive voter suppression bills across this country that would really have a chilling effect on Black and brown communities. This is Jim Crow re-envisioned. You're far too young to understand, but you know the history that we've overcome racial injustice. Former Congressman John Lewis made good and necessary trouble to end voter suppression laws that used to prohibit Blacks from voting, from poll taxes and literacy tests. Many peoples whose shoulders we stand on literally died for the precious fundamental right to vote that we enjoy today. Well, Republicans across this country are trying to turn back the clock, and we are fighting against those voter suppression laws. So we are taking a stand. There is no voter fraud. This is voter suppression, and they're using this as an excuse to cheat, to keep people, particularly Black and brown people, from voting.
Do you really believe that Republicans believe these lies about the election, or are they just advocating for them because it would further their goal of implementing these voter reforms?
And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be very transparent with you. I don't believe, and I don't use the word racist often, and I don't know a person's heart, right? But I do believe that they know that this is not true because there's no evidence of it. It's been invalidated. The courts have struck it down. There is no proof, right? You can't just make up something because you want to make it true. You have to show proof of it. That's why we have fact versus fiction. And you can invalidate something. We have opinions. Opinion may be, you know what, it is hot. It may be not hot to me, but it's a fact. If the temperature is 100 degrees outside or not, that's a fact. You can prove it, right, or disprove it. So the point is, there is no factual evidence of voter fraud. It has been rejected. He lost. Trump, that is, he lost a valid election because many people across the country turned out in record numbers. Many of those people are Black and brown. Now, these same Republicans now want to change the rules to invalidate people's fundamental right to vote. That is the bedrock of our democracy. That is what makes America so special, is that we have the freedoms and liberty to vote and vote our values. And it's unfortunate that in 2021, Republicans are trying to take us back to a dark day in our country where we didn't always have those same protections. And so we've come a long way. We've made tremendous progress. I don't want to see it go backwards. And I'm afraid that if Republicans have their way, that is what will happen. If Congress does not pass H.R. 1, the For the People Act, and H.R. 4, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, we are going to go backwards. And I'm very concerned about many of the protections that we have under current law if we allow that to happen.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott threatened to have you all arrested. What is your reaction to that?
Well, that's really, it's really unfortunate. I mean, Governor Abbott knows better than that. We are using a tool within the state constitution that allows members in the minority to break quorum by not having 2/3 of the members present. And that is one way to be able to kill a bill. That is our constitutional right. And the reason why we're taking such an extreme measure, this is only the 5th time that has happened in state history. The 4th time it happened was in late May, when we killed SB 7, the same or similar voter suppression bill that we're fighting to kill now. So this is rarely used. But the reason why we're taking such extreme measures is because it impacts people's constitutional fundamental right to vote. This isn't talking about changing the speed limit, or I can think of a million other reasons why we wouldn't be doing what we're doing now. But when you start talking about people's right to vote, that's really almost all we have, because that takes away your voice. That takes away your ability to elect people in our democracy that will make laws, that will make necessary changes to the way that we govern ourselves. So it is such, we didn't take that lightly. When we left Austin on Monday, when we decided as a Democratic caucus that we were going to break quorum, it was after a lot of deliberation. But what happened was, the straw that broke the camel's back was over the weekend, Saturday, going into Sunday, there were over 700 people that registered to testify on House Bill 3. Over 700 of those people were there to testify against the bill. They registered against. Only 84 people registered in favor of the bill, and 12 registered as neutral. So what did that tell us? That the overwhelming majority of people said, we don't want this law. But Republicans didn't care. They were going to ram it down our throats. They voted the bill out of committee based on a partisan basis, and they were literally ready to bring it on the floor. It probably would have been on the floor today had we not broken quorum. So we made a bold move. We made good trouble, but we made necessary trouble to preserve our constituents and the millions of Texans' precious fundamental right to vote.
This is only a temporary response to Republicans' efforts to pass this bill. You can't stay in Washington forever.
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. The main reason why we chose Washington, D.C. as opposed to Louisiana or Georgia, or you could pick any other state in the union, is because this is where Congress meets. And we need for Congress, specifically the U.S. Senate, because the House of Representatives has already passed H.R. 1, the For the People Act. They've passed it already under the leadership of Speaker Nancy Pelosi. They've already passed it. The Senate now has the ball in their court. And what we're here to do, and we've already had meetings today. I met with a senator. Yesterday, I met with 2 senators, and we're going to be meeting with senators again later today and tomorrow and the next day. And we're trying to get the Senate to pass this bill so that it can become federal law. And just like the Voting Rights Act of 1965, it will stop states from overreaching with voter suppression laws. So we need federal government intervention. We met with Vice President Kamala Harris yesterday. We've made a special request to meet with President Biden. He had a monumental speech yesterday on voting rights, and the president and the vice president, they're in favor of ending the filibuster so that we can get this bill passed. We have a Democrat majority in the House. We have a Democrat, although it's very slim, majority in the Senate, because the vice president is the tiebreaker. And now we need them to break the filibuster. We need two U.S. senators, Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema, to agree that they will not require the 60 vote threshold, because quite frankly, no Republican is willing to be on the right side of history in support of H.R. 1 nor H.R. 4. So we need them to break the filibuster so Democrats can pass it and get this bill to the president's desk so he can sign it. And that way, the state of Texas, nor any other state, can continue to pass voter suppression laws. So while we're here, that is our main objective. If it doesn't pass, then we'll have to reassess what we do. But the August 6th is the deadline for the Congress before they recess. Our special session ends on August 7th. So we've made it a commitment to be here through at least August 7th, which is the end of the first special session.
And if the Senate doesn't act on this bill, what's next?
Wow, that's a great question. I wish I had the answer. I honestly, I don't know, because I'm a man of faith and I'm praying and I'm working hard. My faith teaches me that faith without works is dead. So I have faith and I'm working every day to make phone calls, to reach out to my constituents in America. We're appealing to America because this is a nationwide problem. If we don't fix this, so goes Texas today. Tomorrow, it may be Louisiana or some other state, right? They've already started in Georgia and Arizona, Florida. So this is going to be a issue that Republicans are going to do all over this country if federal government doesn't intervene. So we're making a call to action. This is the fierce urgency of now, and we're using every waking minute to try to get this bill passed. If it doesn't, then we'll have to reassess what are our options. Quite frankly, our options will be very few at that time because we don't have the numbers in Texas. Like I said, they can pass it just straight on a party line vote, which all Republicans so far, except one. There's one Republican state representative in Texas named Lyle Larson that was the lone no vote. Every other Republican voted yes. All Democrats voted no. So basically, the Republicans are saying that they're going to do this to support their own efforts to stay in power, even though they know that there is no real voter fraud. And this is a part of Trump's big lie.
Representative Ron Reynolds, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.